Good evening, or good morning, or maybe good afternoon to all of you. I'm pleased to present you today the first webinar for the launching of the new Master Sustainable Printed and Integrated Electronics, or ePEPS. We are located in Grenoble, which is in the southeast of France, not so far from Paris and also from Geneva or Lyon. The city is ranked at the third place of the European City of the Future. It is in the heart of the Alps and surrounded by four massifs, Vercors, Beldon, Chartreuse, and Les Écrins. Everywhere you look around in Grenoble, you can see mountains. Grenoble is a sporty city in winter. It is the city of the Olympic Games in 1968. And you can there are 20 winter resorts all around the city where you can go skiing or practicing several sports of mountains. And it's not surprising to meet students in the morning in the tramway or riding their bicycle with skis on their shoulders, because in the morning they go to university for the lectures, and in the afternoon they go skiing. Since sport resorts are located very close to downtown and to the campus. Grenoble is also a sports city in summer. We are not far from Marseille, and where we can go to the sea, and there are also a lot of lakes. And if you prefer being alone, you can also go hiking and see beautiful lakes. Grenoble is a green and scientific city. It is ranked at the 5th place for the best city in France for students, and almost 7% of the population work in R&D. It has a large cycle network, and it is ranked at the first place for cycling city, with more than 450 kilometers of bike paths. Grenoble also offers cultural opportunities because it's not so far from Paris and also near to Lyon. And it has also its own museum since 1919, when the director of the museum opened the door to young artists such as Matisse, Picasso, or Gauguin. Now, if we move to the UGA, we can say that the master will be launched in Grenoble INP Pagora, which is a graduate school of engineering in paper, print media, and biomaterials, which is a part of INP's UGA Engineering and Management Institute that gathers 8 graduate schools with more than 9,000 students and 40 laboratories. And this is a part of a more academic and scientific body with 60,000 students and 80 laboratories. Now, if you focus on Grenoble INP Pagora, it is an international graduate school of engineering unique in Europe. It has close links with research laboratory LTP2. There are about 200 and 250 students per year, and they can follow 2 options, fiber and biomaterials or printed communication. There is an existing master Bio 2 dedicated to biorefinery and biomaterials, and we are launching a new master, ePEPS, dedicated to sustainable printed and integrated electronics. The context of this new master is printed electronics on 2D substrates, but also 3D electronics. You have on this slide different examples of printed circuitry printed onto papers, and also devices printed onto 3D parts. More recently, direct printing the interest raised for direct printing on 3D objects. On this slide, you can see the market potential of some applications. For example, for in-mold electronics for automotive, or electronic skin patches for healthcare, and also energy harvesting for smart packaging. And you can see that these applications are still in development. Another topic of interest is additive manufacturing. Researchers try to add functionalities on 3D objects, either with partially additive technologies or fully additive technologies. On this slide, you can see the different status of 3D electronic technologies, from the proof of concept to the market launch, for electronic directly applied on 3D surface, for in-mold electronics, or fully 3D electronics. We can see that for antennas had already reached a market launch, but the research is still needed for automotive and packaging, for example. Previous projects within Min Chair focused attention on the functionalization of 3D parts with electronics, and during this project it was shown that complementary skills were required to manage such complex projects. The skills concerns materials, processes, electronic or robotic. That's why for the new master, for the one-year master program we propose, we develop 2 semesters, the first one with conventional lectures, and the second one dedicated to an internship in company or laboratory. So for the first semester, 4 units of education are developed. The first one dedicated to processes and materials, the second one to functionalities, electronic functionalities, the third one to sustainable innovation, and the fourth one to the manufacturing of a proof of concept. For the first semester, the first unit concerns printing and coating processes, and the objective is to describe the processes used to functionalize parts, planar and 3-dimensional shaped, flexible and rigid. The second unit is dedicated to electronic, optoelectronic, energy management functionalities. The idea is to characterize the features that are commonly required to design functional parts. The third unit is dedicated to sustainable innovation, and the objective is to give the basis for project management, eco-conception, life cycle assessment, end of life. And the fourth unit consists in realizing a proof of concept, taking into account the knowledge acquired within the 3 first units. Who can apply to this master? So students having at least 4 years of graduate studies in France or abroad, and they need to have at least one skills from the list mentioned here, in chemistry, in printing processes, in material science, electronic, additive manufacturing, connected objects, or sustainable industrial processes. Professional partners support the master because they want to contribute to the development of a unique training program in France, also to be able to test and explore new subjects during student projects, to develop the employer brand among specific profiles, and also to keep up to date with scientific advances in this field. Already involved as partners are mentioned here, and we will welcome 2 of them for testimonies just after. The first testimony we will have is the one of João, who is a PhD student coming from Portugal. João works on a thesis entitled Separation and Valorization of Material Coming from the End of Life of Printed Electronics on Paper. João, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, João. So you came from Portugal, and yes,
it's correct. Yes.
For the moment, it's correct. So What was your motivation to come in France and to study the subject of recycling of printed electronics onto paper?
So, hello everyone. So first of all, I didn't have no idea where I would end up after finishing my studies, because I finished my studies in the end of 2019, and then COVID came in, but we will speak about it later. But since always I have been more attached to recyclability studies and also valorization. And when I got a mail from my old professor saying there was this project in France. They are interested in someone that can have some knowledge. In my case, it's also some knowledge related with metal recovery. I applied because it was also something that was related to what I did during my master in terms of valorization of metals, and also in terms of electronics, because it's a topic that it's quite under development right now. It's being applied at masses in the industry to new applications, but regarding their recyclability, I think there is almost nothing right now in terms of studies. So I was more motivated, and that's why I applied, and here I am in Grenoble.
Okay, thank you. So your scholarship background, what was your scholarship background, and do you think the master we want to launch should have helped you if for your study, for example?
No margin of doubts. So my background it's chemical engineering. Well, I have some backgrounds in terms of refineries, but more into the chemistry of transformation of wood into pulp and then production of paper. But I had no background in terms of electronics. I had no background in terms of the different printing techniques that exist nowadays and can be applied into the production of printed electronics. And also the term of eco-conception that you already referred previously for the printed electronics. I think it's the last point that should be focused here also in these masters, and I think they are important because since there is also a collaboration with the industrial partners, I think that's also topics that the industry are needing right now, and they don't still have that knowledge. And existing a master, no, it doesn't matter where, but specifically here in France, helps the industries around to have more access and easier access to this knowledge. So preparing new generations of students or engineers in this topic, I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
Okay. And when you arrived in France in October 2020, it was just after the confinement due to COVID crisis. How did you feel? How did you manage to establish friendship? Was it difficult or how did...
It was hard. So I finished my master before the COVID just boomed in Europe. Then I stayed practically 1 year at home, but it was worldwide, especially at level of Europe. And then I just came, as you said, I started in October 2020, after the first confinement, a little bit before the second. It was a rough period, so not everyone were in the lab. I didn't have all the relationships, all the accessibility to speak with people. Also the fact that I was not really speakable or understanding French was also a little, how can I say, a little not negative point, but a condition. But with time, with patience, I knew that it will be not be the easiest experience because I was getting out of my comfort zone. I was getting out into another country that I didn't master the language. I didn't knew anyone. But with time and with some perseverance and patience, I think I could turn that point quite well, and I met fantastic people. This is, for example, for the new students masters, I believe this will be like Erasmus. I didn't have that opportunity when I was in Portugal, so for me my PhD, it's a 3 years Erasmus that I don't regret leaving my town, my friends and family, and come here, learn new opportunities, learn new topics, new subjects. But I think the new students will not also regret it, because getting out of comfort zone will allow you to know yourself better, to improve yourself, and also the knowledge that this master could give to you, I think will not give if you stay at home. So don't be afraid. That's why that was one of the motives that I still kept during the 3 years here, even more with COVID. But I just built nice relationships with people that already left or are still here in the lab, and I think I will keep them even after in the future.
So you can say that it's a good experience.
Yes, more. If I did it even during COVID, I think that the new students will go through it even easier and smoothly, because now there are a lot of opportunities. We are in the middle of the winter, so there is all the winter sports. In summer, you have the lakes, you have the hiking. So, and also you will get a new group of friends. You will know new cultures, new realities. And I think that's parts of your growth and soft skills that you will earn if you come here to Pagora. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, João. And maybe
Welcome.
you can say a few words in French.
No,
in
merci.
French, because you are perfectly fluent in French.
No, I don't think so, but everyone says that I speak quite well French.
Yes.
Probably one day.
Bye, João. Thank you. And now I will welcome Gaël Després, who is RRD Smart Papers Director for Arjo Wiggins, and now maybe Fedrigoni?
Correct.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, Gaël, thank you for being with us tonight. You belong to a company, Arjo Wiggins, that developed a paper dedicated to printed electronics. Can you explain what were the challenges to develop such a paper for printed electronics?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. Yes, so my company developed not only a paper dedicated to printed electronics, but also a printing line, printing techniques, and also some applications, some end applications for smart papers and smart labels and smart packaging. The challenges to develop this special paper, it was mainly coming from the roughness and porosity of the paper, and also the dimensional stability, because it was not correct to print very fine lines, conductive lines. So we have to modify the paper to be able to be printed with printed electronics. And for that, of course, we also use the competencies of the professor from Pagora, especially you, Nadej. Thank you a lot. And also we had a lot of collaboration with Pagora, with students, master students and PhD, which help us a lot to develop this paper and also these printing techniques, as I said, because we had to build a complete printing lines to be able to print smart tags in one pass with different printing heads, with a very nice registration, quality control, and so on. And we also develop application like smart labels, but also now we are working on printed sensor, printed battery, to be able to have active sensors, and also printed display. So a lot of applications that will come in the coming years.
Thank you. And you are familiar with European projects and the international collaborations. To your opinion, what would be the opportunities for young students to join this new master?
Okay. Printed electronics is a new topic, and there are a lot of research in this area, a lot of industries, companies who are interested, and we are beginning to do research or to do small production in this area, and also a lot of conferences, of trade show in Europe, and in the world, like in next month, there is a LOPEC trade show and conference in Munich. There will be TechBlick also in Berlin in October. Of course, in Paris for the AFELIM Association. Next year there will be a conference in California on printed electronics. So I think these topics is worldwide, and in Europe there are a lot of research of European project. So for the students who will enter this master, I think it's a unique opportunity for them to travel, to discuss with other people from research industry, and as we said, as I said, usually the group is more intelligent than the individual. So it's to do a nice research, we need to discuss, we need to work with other people from other countries, and that's when you do that, you begin to have a good knowledge of what's going on.
And when you were a student, it was a few years ago, not so much, but anyway, a few years ago, training regarding printed electronics was not in the program. Do you think this new master will help graduates to be more rapidly efficient in these cutting-edge fields of printed electronics?
Mm-hmm. Thank you to remind me that I'm a guy from the previous century. Yes, indeed, the previous century there was no such master in Pagora. I finished my school in 96 and my PhD in 2000. So for sure, this is a new topic, as I said, and clearly. A lot of companies, a lot of research centers are looking for new talents, and at the moment there are almost no schools or master in this field. So for them, it will be really an opportunity to enter into these companies or research center. For instance, I belong also to the French Association of Printed Electronics, AFELIM, and I know at the moment some of our let's say companies or research centers that are belonging to this association, they are looking for people with having this knowledge on printed electronics, and at the moment there is a lack of these people.
That's why we intend to launch this new master.
It's a very good idea.
Thank you, Gaël. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Nadège.
And I now welcome Nicolas Leterrier, who is Customer Innovation and One Lab Global VP for Schneider Electric.
Yep.
Thank you, Nicolas, to be there. You launched the Min Chair in 2015, dedicated to functionalization of 3D parts with printing processes. What were the challenges?
Well, you know, a chair is always like that. It's starting by a vision. And we were currently speaking about how can we enhance the functionality of our products, you know, because if you are currently manufacturing all the time the same products, you know, unfortunately that a company like us will die. And a lot of new features that we had in mind, but with lack of technology and a lot of technology logs that we had to overcome, you know, a lot of hurdles, a lot of issues that were currently down the road. And there was really the necessity to enhance the knowledge, the background, the physics, understand all the rules that were currently, you know, at the interaction between what we will and what we were currently willing to design and what was actually feasible, and feasible on a pretty large scale as well. You know, I used to say that we are building something like 500 million products a year, so it means a lot in terms of the way we are going to manufacture as well.
Okay. And direct printing, as envisaged in the share, was a disruptive technology. What were the opportunities for your company, and why do you think the technology was promising?
Yeah, we're currently thinking that direct printing, especially in plastic parts, at the beginning was something that was very disruptive, very innovative, that was bringing a lot of new opportunities in the way that we can add function on products. Especially we're currently thinking on antennas and the way that now we are building a lot of IoT products, connected products. And currently, if we can reduce the size of the PCB, because in kind of a bunch of products, the size of the PCB is directly driven by the size of the antenna, then it's really bringing an added value on it. On top of that, you have the fact that, the wavelength, in different geographies is very different. So it means that we can have much more, I would say, a specification or specific products ready for some geographies. And on top of that, we can really investigate this 3D technology, but maybe some others that we're currently thinking of as potential candidates in order to bring, I would say, this technology as reality. We knew it was a journey, and we started to give us this journey. And not knowing exactly, it was really technology scouting on what can we learn from what we are currently doing, together in order to bring more functionality, more added value inside the products that we are currently manufacturing, and maybe find other way also around all the life cycle. It's a design, build, operate, maintain, recycle, and the way along all this value chain and what we can bring as added value at each step of all that.
And to build such objects, it was shown that complementary skills were needed. And can you explain us why it is so important to have complementary skills, for example, in material science and in processes, in robotic and electronics?
Yeah, well, so in fact, we don't want, in order to build one object, to have 100 people around the table. So we need people that are curious, that are open, that are able to master materials, to understand the physics laws that are currently driving all that, the electronics, the modelization, how to build models, how to design, even if the tools are not totally ready or not totally there, in order to design a given product at one time. So it's really in that field where you need to be open and curious. That's the first thing. Second, you have to understand also what are the constraints. Being an industrial, you have to deliver products that are, and in our case, that are lasting for a long period of time. So we did not know anything about aging of this kind of technology and so on. So it's where, having some, I would say, common sense, being able to be open, because we are a global company as well. We are local, global, so global company, with R&D located in several countries. So you need to be open in order to bring that to life and a certain level of maturity to be inside. And of course, you need to be a specialist of almost everything, which means a specialist of nothing, but being able to understand what are really the physics behind and be curious in order to be open to work together in a project mode in order to deliver the value of the product.
So we have still a lot of work to do. And for this, we need new students for this new master.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Nicolas, for being with us tonight. So I will now explain you how to apply. So for the first promotion, we intend to welcome in September 2023. You can apply on our website, and there will be two evaluation committees in March and in May. And the first day in the master will be 11th of September of this year. So you can also join us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So thank you for being with us tonight, and I hope my guests and myself will give you the will to apply to this new master, ePEPS.